To become a Force Ghost is a rare and difficult thing to achieve in the Star Wars universe. In canon, it is specified only those at peace can become Force Ghosts, as it is about achieving ultimate serenity, and something the dark side, and as a result the Sith, are incapable of. But this raises the question, what of those in the middle between the light and the dark? Can those who do not identify solely with the light or dark side, but rather take the Force as a whole, transcend the physical realm, and return as Force Ghosts? According to Yoda, to become a Force Ghost, one must be completely selfless and have love in their heart. His direct quote says this: "Eternal life, the ultimate goal of the Sith, yet they can never achieve it. It comes only through the release of self, not the exaltation of self. It comes through compassion, not greed. Love is the answer to the darkness." Another very important piece to gain the ability to return after death is to accept death itself. If an individual is to return, they must accept death will come for them and be content with that, defying the Force and death after it comes for them, not out of selfishness and fear, but gaining the ability to do so out of understanding for it. In Star Wars The Clone Wars, it was revealed the Force priestesses had been training the Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn to become a Force Ghost, and that they were partially through his training when he was killed by the Sith Maul on Naboo. This is why Jinn is unable to appear fully as a Force Ghost after his death, and only his voice can be heard, with the exception of him being in locations very powerful in the Force. In those cases, he is able to reveal himself fully. Throughout the galaxy, there are thousands of interpretations on the Force. The Jedi believe the Force in its original and purest state is the light, and that the dark is simply a perversion of what the Force truly is. The Sith acknowledge both sides, but care little about what the Force can offer them spiritually, focusing entirely on the worldly power it can grant them. This is the key reason they are unable to become Force spirits. The Sith as an order focuses largely on greed and selfishness, two aspects that prevent them from becoming Force Ghosts. Many believe in universe, in order to become a Force Ghost, an individual must not crave power at all, simply become what the Force wills them to be. A quick reminder, the term Grey Jedi is more used as a very broad term to describe light side users who do not affiliate with the Jedi Order. However, several established orders that do consider themselves Grey Jedi do dabble in the darkness, just not to the degree where they become a slave to it. On the other hand, some Grey Jedi don't believe in a light or dark side at all, simply the Force. They take the entire view as one thing, and feel it's impossible to discern what the original stance or perversion was, believing the dark must come with the light, and vice versa. To many, Qui-Gon Jinn was considered a Grey Jedi due to his rogue streak, and not always following the will of the Jedi. This is extremely important, since we already know Qui-Gon was capable of becoming a Force Ghost. Let's now examine those that take the Force as a whole, again believing there is no light or dark. The answer to the question posed at the beginning of the video is simple: yes. To become a Force Ghost is not solely determined to one's affiliation to an order, but the way they perceive and, more importantly, use the Force. Concerning the darker aspects of certain Grey Jedi, although difficult and potentially even impossible, theoretically, a dark side user could become a Force Ghost if what they believed they were doing was completely righteous and held no greed or darkness in their hearts, simply used it. This is also where it would get very muddled, since not having these things would make it extremely difficult to even use the dark side, as that is what fuels it. It would be akin to attempting to drive a car without fuel. Without it, the vehicle will not move or progress. But a lot of Grey Jedi don't even use the dark side to begin with. Many Grey Jedi are very much light side users. They are simply not held to the restraints or standards of the Jedi Order. Therefore, if they went through their lives and eventual death selflessly and reached a place of peace upon their death, they could most certainly return as a Force Ghost. An important thing to note, however, is in order to return as a Force Spirit, special training is required beyond simply one's stance. As said previously, Jinn underwent special training and in turn taught Yoda and Obi-Wan following his death. The case for Anakin's return is different, but that is for another video. If a Grey Jedi did believe in the Force as a whole and used the dark side, but not religiously, simply as a supplement to the light, they could also become a Force Ghost if they met the standards. Again, it would all be determined by their souls. If in their own hearts they are content and have no ill will, it is more than possible with the appropriate training. For those that use the dark side, it would be much more difficult, as being powered by those properties are inherent enemies to the just traits that it would take. So the final answer would be yes, it is more than possible for a Grey Jedi to become a Force Ghost. Becoming a Force Spirit is not something dictated by affiliation with a group, but rather within oneself. The reason some Jedi are able to do this is because a lot of their beliefs follow just that. The reason the Sith aren't is because the Order focuses on the opposite. The Sith are more focused on what the Force can do for them rather than deeply pondering on its nature for the sole reason of learning of it, without any selfish ulterior motives to their studies. As an interesting side note, in Legends, this has forced the Sith to look at different avenues to return and maintain their consciousness rather than becoming Force spirits. Physical beings can be manipulated and tricked, but the Force itself connects and binds all things, and cannot be deceived. So that is the answer as best I can portray it. I know this is one of the more obscure aspects of Star Wars to grasp, so if there is something that isn't quite clicking about it, feel free to leave a comment and I will try my best to explain. Anyway, how do you feel about this? Do you like this explanation? And how do you feel overall concerning Force Ghosts and Grey Jedi? If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like as it helps the channel out a great deal and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related. If you have any lore topics or questions you want answered or addressed, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to that topic. Thanks again for watching, may the Force be with you however you may perceive it, and have a great day.